Yo, what it is though, Team SYS, it's your boy Light here with another conceptual video. I'm a Narmaya main myself. I consider myself kind of a pro with her. Beat nearly every boss solo, true solo with her. So here on this screen, you can see my current setup, my imbuements down there. Imbued traits is critical hit rate, tier 9, a guts, tier 7, and injury to insult. That's the best I can find right now. As for my lineup, I have Butterfly's Valor because of the crit hit rate, which is capping me at the 99%. I have Combo Booster, this setup because of the quick cooldown on it. Damage cap would improve dodge because I love to be able to dodge or hop around 7 times. It gives me more flexibility and lucidness in battle so I can set up and position myself correctly. Cascade, every time I inflict damage upon the enemy, my cooldowns are going to come down, and that's just mandatory for me personally. Drain is because this is all I have on my other damage cap, but this is cool in a sense because it makes the build a little bit vampiric, and with Narmaya, I'm putting out so many combos that I'm getting a lot of life back from this drain, even though it's a low tier drain at tier 15. Auto revive so that when I'm playing with my squad, I am not down, because to be down is to lose DPS, and it also hinders the team if they have to come across the map and pick me up. So that auto revive is there. If I'm not playing with my team, then this auto revive can be removed and replaced for a better damage cap, but it's the only one I have. So stamina, which is going to have my potion hoarder on it, and this is absolutely a god roll to me because I have a few staminas, but they got a bunch of crappy rolls or secondary rolls on it. But this one has my potion hoarder on it, so instantly when I have the resources, I cap this bad boy out. But supplementary for plus with cooldown again, because with this current setup I am trying to basically spam all of my abilities, and we're going to get into the abilities that I'm using with her, as well as show the stat sheet for all of this that I'm using. I have 2 tyrannies on here, and the reason I have 2 tyrannies is because I want the guts, and this guts mixed with my imbuement guts caps my guts out at 2-minute cooldowns, which is absolutely great for me. It provides a cushion and allows me to not necessarily be a burden for my team, which is very important to me. Aegis on this particular tyranny because I would love my life sitting around 4100, 4300-ish, and that is because some of the bosses like Radius and Black Evil and Piety and things like that, they hit for 38, 33, or even 40k damage. So if my guts is not proccing, or if my guts is out of cycle, I have just enough energy basically to use one of my potions. Again, being down all the time is taking DPS away from the team. War Elemental is mandatory because even if the boss doesn't have a particular elemental to it, it's still a 20% guaranteed extra damage, which is, you can't avoid War Elemental. It must be on the build. The question is there a War Elemental plus? Then I have Quick Charge with cooldown again. So this build to me is very symmetrical. I would love to get rid of one of these tyrannies. If I could find, say, like a Link Together that had a guts on it, this tyranny would be gone. But at the moment I can't really find anything like that, and thus the tyranny. So let's have a look here. So we have our damage cap. At the top we can see that it's tier 69 out of 65, so we're actually over capped, but in this case, I mean, right, catastrophe is being procced. With the catastrophe with this particular terminus weapon, I'm getting plus 50% extra damage and plus 100% damage cap when my HP is below 4500. My regen is sitting at about 2%. Crit hit is at tier 25 at 29%. Injury to insult is at 12%, and this is from my imbuement. Guts is capped out at 2 minutes, which is mandatory for me. Stamina is at tier 16, so I'm getting that plus 51% at 100% HP. But also 7.6% at 25 HP. Tyranny is maxed out, so 50% but minus 20% to my health. Combo booster is at a juicy tier 16, so I'm getting that plus 72%. Every hit is gradually increasing, right? So that's a plus 72%. So my damage is ramping up as I'm doing continuous fluid combinations and changing in and out of stances. So, I mean, it complements the build really nicely. Supplementary is a little bit low at a 32% chance, but I find that that works really well for me. If I do happen to find a 5+, I'm throwing it on immediately because that's going to put around 50% instead of 32%, and 52% is a lot better than 30%. My quick charge is sitting at around minus 21% with a plus 14.4% attack. So I'm able to charge my attacks a lot faster. War Elemental is War Elemental. It's absolutely mandatory. For all characters and builds. Aegis to put me back at 41k. I would love to be sitting at around 43 or even 44k. But, you know, gradually as we find more sigils, we'll be able to manipulate this build and tailor it more to my needs. Improved dodge is mandatory. I get 7 dodges total, the 3 that you get plus the 4 added to this, so I can hop around and just be more agile and fluid, especially since I'm playing with a samurai character. My drain is at tier 16. So I'm recovering 2.1% of damage dealt as HP, which is really good. Quick cooldown is not really capped out on this build. Again, if I can find a better supplementary, maybe a 5+ with a quick cooldown, holla at your boy, then it'll be fully capped out at minus 20% on my skill cooldown. But it's at 18.8%, and that's not too shabby. My Cascade 2 is at tier 16, which is a minus 1.6% cooldown, and I find that this works really well for me as well. Potion Hoarder is of course maxed out because it's mandatory for me to be able to help my team out if they're low on health, but also to be able to pick myself up if needed 3 times in a match, plus the auto revive, plus the guts. That's a lot of survivability. We're not really losing too much on the DPS because of how symmetrical the build is. Because most of the sigils in here are multiplicative and not additive. So you can stack all day and still see the exact same numbers that I'm seeing. Granted, maybe you'll be doing 500 more or 700 more damage than me, but I'll have more survivability than you, which means I'll be outputting damage more than you in the long run because I'm not downed all the time. So for me, this is a very balanced build because I'm able to survive, but also output really, really decent amounts of damage. Auto revive is at 160 seconds, which is good for me. And then I am using, of course, Valor, which is still giving me that 50% chance to trigger, but it's also giving me the crit chance, which is why my crit chance is sitting at 99%. Before we hit the dummy, let me show you my skill setup real quick too. I'm using Kyo Kasui Getsu. This move is absolutely mandatory for me because I need to lunge very quickly and get back into the fight, and I can spam this because of my cooldown. Apex of Nothingness is mandatory because I love to counter. Sometimes I'm in a sticky situation or there's a lot going on the screen and I see all my teammates getting blown up, but guess who's not? Your boy, because he can counter. Utter Devotion is usually swapped out with Dance of the Pink Petals. So if I'm doing solo and playing by myself, Dance of the Pink Petals is here because I'm getting the extra supplementary, Stout Heart, and attack boost up by 30%. But if I'm with my team, Utter Devotion for the hostility, but also to lower the boss's defense by 25%. Setsuna is my charge. This is optional. I love the 700k damage, 500k damage-ish, 500 to about 700k damage that I get from this. And I figure I can run a full combo and then end the combo with this, and it's just absolutely nasty, which I'll show. But if you're not really good at placement and how to set up this move, then this can be replaced with Crescent Moon. That's a good way to get out of the attack. Or you can even replace my my lunge with Crescent Moon. Or a lot of people go Transient, right? So you get a lot of quick slash attacks. and it's pretty cool. All right, let's get into our combo setup. I'm gonna do every move one by one, but first let's just hit the dummy with the whole combo and see what happens. So off the back, I'm gonna try to bless my sword in the beginning of the match. Change stances, obviously. Lunge. Okay, so 7.2 million damage, right? So let's have a look at what happened. First of all, if you haven't played Narmaya, she has two stances. Dawn Fly stance is what I'm in right now, which is going to do quick slash attacks. Right? Her other attack is Free Flutter stance, which is decisive attacks. In this stance, I can also charge. But you see how slow the charge is? To speed that charge up, I'm going to want to connect the combo, and then that charge will speed up. The way her combo is going to go is basically, and they show you this also in the command list, you can actually come and practice the combo to yourself, but you're going to want to hit, and for me, my cue is that light. Once you see the light, there's like a little flash of light when she's trying to sheath her weapon, I change stances. Chain. See how fast the charge was on that? Because everything was linked together, that's why. So that's pretty much how she's played. You want to rinse and repeat that combo setup over and over and over and over. Now, obviously, iframes you have to take into account. You're obviously not going to be able to sit there and just hit a moving target with all of this. So you're going to have to learn how to break this combo up or cancel when you need to cancel. If I'm in the... Oh, let's build back up, man. You'll be doing a lot of canceling too in the fight. You got to be able to move and cancel. You got to be able to hit your air combos. She's clean when you really learn how to move with her and play with her. And then you can actually go back into the combo all over again. You can rinse and repeat this combo as many times as you like. Me, I just choose to end it this way, because it's badass looking. But that's pretty much my setup. Blessing my sword for more damage. Being able to basically lunge into the attack as fast as I can. My charge when it's in, right? When my charge is in, being able to do my Setsuna. And then also being able to hit my counter. Right? So if nothing happens, if nothing touches me during my counter, then she'll automatically break from the counter and do an attack. But with the once again with my build, you'll see that it's very symmetrical. I would love to take out one of the tyrannies once again and replace like the tyranny Aegis with something else. But at the moment I cannot. Maybe another supplementary could go right here in this tyranny slot. But truth be told, I don't have a really good supplementary to put in this slot, so it's just two tyrannies at the moment. Mandatory is going to be her Butterfly Awakening or her Valor, depending on your secondary role. Stamina is going to be mandatory. War Elemental is going to be mandatory. Supplementary is going to be mandatory, and your damage caps are going to be mandatory. You basically possibly have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 if you don't have her specific sigil. You probably have 3 slots open that you can play around with, and there's so many different ways to play her. Obviously, ultimately, it's going to come down to your skill setups and what you have out here as your skills, and from there you'll be able to judge. But for me personally, Cascade, quick cooldown, Guts, Potion Hoarder, Improved Dodge are just absolutely mandatory. Stamina, Combo Booster, Supplementary, War Elemental, mandatory. And then for your damage output, you're going to want to go Tyranny. I'm not a fan of Glass Cannon because of the dizziness. But yeah, and then as you can see also, I'm hitting that 51 and I'm capped out right now. You can see the X through my numbers is capped out at 51,832. And you can see the supplementary is actually, hold on, there it is, it's proccing. It's not a bad proc on this actually. Look at that. And especially if you're running a full-blown combo setup, you're going to be getting your supplementary proc. Now obviously, if that bad boy's sitting at 100%, then that's going to be a lot more like, you know what I mean? There's going to be a lot more damage output per second with it at 100%. But if you don't have the 5 pluses or good 4 rows, I'm here to tell you that the build I'm showing you right now will suffice. I have soloed many bosses with this build and just breeze through them with ease. So hopefully you like the conceptual guide idea, kind of like a template. We should never copy people's stuff verbatim, but unfortunately this game doesn't have really much variety in it at the moment as far as how you can piece a character together, because the damage caps is taking up so many slots. Supplementary is going to take up a few slots. War Elemental is going to take a slot, and your standard sigil, your character specific sigil, is going to take up a slot. So figure out how to put the build together. I hope this gives you a general idea of how to approach Narmaya. And yeah, we're on to the next one. Team SYS, squad out. Light work.